Hey everybody, my name's Randy Wittis, and this is my shop. There's the Chevelle. Anyway, we're gonna do some more Bodywork Butchery, and we're gonna fix this right here. And the only part we're replacing is this wheel opening molding. See you in a minute. But it's just that type of joint, and I forget what that name of that is, a bally thingamajiggy. Anyway, so yeah, well, see, it's in. Oh man. Okay, so I've got the bolts out, and now I want to pop out this little light. Sometimes, and you see I put tape over this because sometimes when you pop them out, they, you know, tumble and fall and scratch stuff. So sometimes you can put pressure back here and hit it, but that's not working. So this particular light has two studs and then a little clip that just kind of holds it in right here. So we're going to pry a little bit. Pry a little bit and pull back here. Well, there it went. And it didn't fly anywhere. How about that? So if you didn't see that, it was a pry under this with pressure and pulling at the same time back here, and it just popped out. Okay? And we didn't scratch anything. One plug. Set that inside. And put some tape on that. Keep that out of the way. Now we have to figure out how to get this panel off. We'll do one of these little clips here. Some of them are a pain. One's really being a pain. More times than not, you break them. Happens. That's why you have a box of clips. Huh. Nice, okay. All right, well, I'm seeing some other things on this little escape. I've done these before, but you forget over time. Anyway, I've got a different size bolt here. I've got a rivet here that holds this. And this may also be held from the back side. down here. So I'm gonna figure that out and I'll be right back. Okay, what I found here, and this happens all the time, is these clips break or the molding breaks. That's why I just bought a new one and wasn't gonna try to fix that one. You know, that's kind of possible. That clip broke off in the accident right there. So I'll set it in the back. Don't throw any parts away until the job is gone. What we have down here, just like I thought, let me get a light. Okay, so see down here, way over there in that corner, there's a screw, ties it to the bottom, and then there's a rivet down here. But we're going to take this piece out and I'm going to see about the rivets. I'm going to kind of let that slide at the moment. See how much this is in my way. Because the whole bumper's loose. I could really just take it loose down here and it'll probably fall out of the way. So I might just do that. See how that fan jumped out at me like that? Man. Well, it's not falling out of the way, but it's farther out of the way. There's some pieces underneath, like so, that are holding it up, but we got a lot more room now. So we're going to take this piece off next. And pieces are falling off as we do so. There's one clip holding it in. There we go. Clip right there. New one has a clip in it anyway, but if it doesn't, we'll save that one. Examine that real quick. This part, it said I bought one back in the day And of course it's the other side. It's like $150. Now they're $270. Same year. So what has to happen see a lot of buckling here through here. We need to grab hold of this corner and pull everything out. Simple. So let me get some more tools and I'll be right back. Got some tools. Can't see it, but got I can't read Chinese, so I don't know what it's called, but spot welder, dent puller, wiggle wire thingy. Okay, what I've done, you can see I ground that off, ground this off. I came back with the little orange wheel that you saw to smooth out the metal a little bit, not have such big grinding marks in it. And the reason being is I've been finding that the little spot weld, because it's very light spot weld, and it tends to not want to stick to a rough surface. It gives you very little surface area that way. So if you make it smoother, you have more surface area. It's kind of like, okay, grinding marks in the metal, no grinding marks in the metal. Gotcha? See you in a minute. Okay, so we're to the wiggle wire part. That's called wiggle wire. Yep, perfect name. So we weld that wiggle wire to that edge like so. Okay. We have this little welder here. It's a spot 609. Oh, I think. I don't know. There it is, right there. Anyhow, we use this little gun, and that's our ground. And I'll attempt to do one for you. Or at least start it. Everything goes like I hope. Now this little wiggle wire got a little rust on it. Might be causing me a little problem. Okay. Now the next thing, we have a little puller or a slide hammer And I'm gonna try this little slide hammer first. Just to see what happens. And you know, I put it at that angle. I don't really know why. It needs to be pretty well just straight out, maybe, but sometimes you gotta, since it's kind of stuffed up in there, because it looks like the hit came from this way because of the wrinkle, kind of stuff things that way. So we gotta sometimes out and down a little bit. We'll see. Yeah, that's not may not work that way, but we're gonna give it a go for the moment. I need both hands, by the way. Came out a little bit. Little's better than none. So what do? We put it back on and do it again. Always wear your safety glasses. I am actually closing my eyes when I do that. I don't know if you can tell, we are actually making progress. I know it seems frustrating that that thing keeps popping off, and yes, it is kind of frustrating. But this right here has gotten bigger. This has come out. I need to work this line here as well and pull this out. Kind of all at the same time. You saw that I wasn't concentrating so much up here anymore as well as much as I did down here, because this is worse, that's why. So let's put her back on. Maybe put one here. good movement on that one. Okay, so we got some good movement. This came out quite a bit. I know it doesn't look like it because, you know, you're staring at this, but actually that has lessened. Okay, and this is going to come to a point, and it probably on the next pull, then I'm going to have to start tapping this down right here. I'm going to grind this out right here because I'm probably going to have to put a wiggle wire right there, pull that as well as tap that down. This is coming out. Let's see. It's all looking better right there. I'm going to have to get my part, my retainer, and fit it in there, see where that needs to go. We are getting there. We have buckles on the back here, right in this area. Smidge. So we're going to have to get at some point behind here, straighten that out some. Let's just keep plugging away. And my eyes closed. Okay, I don't know how much the camera went dead, but anyway, we made some pulls and got it out that far. Doing a little pre-fitting to see, get an eye at what we're looking at. We need to come out more here yet. In this area, we need to get up underneath the structure here and pull her out. So, gotta charge my batteries and I'll be back. Okay, so I just showed you that. What we need to do. So we're going to try to pull, straighten out the inside. Let me show you what that looks like a little bit. See a big dent right there? We're going to try to get those straightened out. One has a hole in it. Looks like a screw punctured through. Even maybe right there. From the other side. Yeah, see that bolt right there? That poked that hole through. So let's work that out a smidge. We can. So we can try it with a big hammer. take that little nut out. Put that in there. We don't smash it anymore. Okay, so the metal still just needs to come out right through here. Right through here. So we will keep trying. Show you what that looks like now. It's a little better, a little flatter. We can see that wheel well. That wheel well. What does that look like? Not too shabby. Doesn't look too good either. Look at that. With your hand. No hammers needed. Having to good there, actually a little high. Well, maybe not a little high, maybe it was a little low. So this area is still kind of sucked in, seems like. Huh. Pretty well locked in, isn't it? See you in a minute. All right, trying to get this section out a little bit more. Actually, we can pull some of this out. Came a little bit. Okay, continuing on. Did some rough metal work off camera after the battery died again. I've got I've got this fitting pretty decent. Yeah, it's not perfect right here. I gotta weld my little cut up a little bit. Got some little pinholes, but I'll show you what we're gonna do there. Everything's lining up to where I can make this work. So let's do a couple little spot welds and move on. Okay, I'm going to DA that with 80 grit and come back, clean some stuff up. I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back, and did 80 grit. Got some Evercoat short-haired fiberglass. And the reason that I'm doing that is because there's pinholes in here. Plus we had that damage to the metal with the crack and everything. So we want to do as close to a decent job as possible. If you were welding in a patch, this would be the same process, putting this stuff on. Press it in that little area really good. And we couldn't get that any better because it was so stretched out and damaged. And nobody wants to pay for a quarter panel, so this is what we're doing. Uh-oh. She's starting to harden up already. Look at that. Yeah. When that happens, just stop. When it's 95 degrees and you mixed it a little hot in the first place, you basically got less than 5 minutes. So that's our roughness. We got it in the holes and everything we wanted to get it into. So we'll cheese grade that off to level it out. Probably hit it with 80 grit again, and then use our regular body filler that we won't have pinholes and all that good stuff. See you in a minute. All right, so we cheese graded, we 80 gritted. Yeah, that looks ugly, and that's why we use this over the top of that, so it's not so ugly. And I didn't mix this quite so hot, so it should not harden in 2 minutes. And you can stir your mud however you want to. They say do it like this, so you don't get pinholes. Well, this body filler, which is called Shark Bite, doesn't get many pinholes. Put your skim coat on, press it in really good. Fling it on the floor a couple times. Starting to harden already. Well, maybe not. Just pulling. Well, good enough. It's still spreadable. All right. See ya. All right, so we have a little mud on at the moment. Do a little sanding. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so yeah, this is what we're looking like. Things are lining up. Got a little work to do, as you can see. We got to fix this corner. This corner has to come out here to meet. There's a ridge right here. I don't know if you can see it. This ridge, and I don't have it here. That's why this looks all messed up. So we will make it here in a little bit. So spread some mud. Spreading some mud. All right, we put our coat on, we sanded it, got it roughed in. Needs a little work in here, just a little bit, so we can finalize that off. It's feeling good. Again, we're not done, we're just roughing it in still. Got somewhat of a line here, so it matches with this. This is also distorted. So once we get that fixed, we will make these match, and it will look like this. So we are getting there. See you in a bit. Okay, so had to fix this little corner with my little hot iron. I took a piece of screen and melted it in here first. Okay. Now when I say melted in, I just put it on the screen and melted it into the plastic. That reinforces the corner. That's not very reinforced. Then we use this little product, which is fiber reinforced, to melt around it and put it into place. And the reason I'm just showing you this way is because the camera was on photo and not video, so I lost all my footage of fixing that. It really is, it's a blast trying to do this yourself. Alright, there we go. That should do it. All right, I think that will work for us. Once that cools off, it'll get nice and stiff, we hope. Now let's get back to the rest of it. Got to do a little more mud work, as you can see. I'm going to put a piece of tape on this right here. And we're gonna spread some mud and we're gonna go over the tape, and it's gonna push down into this crack a little bit. That's gonna give me a line that I can work with, and then we'll smooth the rest of it out. So, see you in a minute. Spreading a little mud. Wow, that's pretty ugly. Starting to harden up already. But now what we're going to do is this. And voila. We have a line, I think. Well, it's overhanging a little. Overhanging just a bit. We're going to trim this so we don't rip it off. We're trying to rip it off. Came off. I did not break it off. Well, I broke it off, but I didn't cut it off. So how we have to take this little panel off, you have to lift it and it catches, and broke it off. Try that another way, I guess. Take this piece off. Since I have something here to go with, I'm going to fill this line. I'm going to fill this line from here to here and wipe it clean, and then we'll go from there. Be right back. Okay, we are really close. Now remember we had a gap in here. Well, we don't now. So what I'm gonna have to do is come down into here and sand a little more. And hopefully get a gap. Okay, what I did is I had it a little thick on here on purpose so I could sand it down. So I did that, sanded this edge. Almost looks like I rounded it. Probably gonna have to take some out of here, but that's the way it goes. It's sand and fit, sand and fit. Happening. Okay, what happens sometimes when you fill in here, see this is the clip that fits on, and that's not able to get past that. See the gap there versus that one's a little tighter, so we gotta fix that. And that means this. Well, I think that's coming around. What do you think? Huh? Now we got to create that little shelf thingy right here. Kind of forgot about that. Yeah, and what we might, what I'm gonna have to do here is push this metal in a smidge so it sucks that in good when it bolts up. If it bolts up, it might, no, it's, yeah, there's a bolt there. I'm going to build this up a little bit more to match that, and we'll be good to go. See you in a minute. All right, we spread it, got it leveled out. Now we're going to sand it down, make it as pretty as we can. Anyhow, probably going to get a lot of dust in your face. Okay, we just finished this off with 180. Went around here with some 320 and 400 to finish it off. Gotta hit that a little bit more, but looking pretty good. Now we gotta hit it with some primer. See ya. Okay, we've got our primer sprayed on. This black stuff is guide coat because us old people need it to help so we can see if it's in scratches or got pinholes. But realistically, no. Yes, it does help that, and that's why you put it on there. If you want a good job, you want to make sure you get all your pinholes and scratches and whatever, use a guide coat. Even if it can see really good, which I can't, but see you in a bit. All right, so we got it primed. Now we start sanding. I'm gonna do a little block sanding, a little DA sanding, and fix little things like that happened. I don't know why. Got some goofy stuff come out of the gun, even though I have filters on it. But we're gonna get it ready for paint. Let's make it happen. Okay, next we're going to prepare this area for what we call a burn. Say, where we burn the paint, the clear, into itself. We have blenders and whatnot that help us to do that, but we have to prep it. We use 1,000 grit here. This is 4,000. So I will basically taper this into 4,000. And that gives it something still to bite to when we blend it in, but we'll take this 4,000 back to where I was. Okay, so I'm taking this 4,000. Sometimes I'll even take it from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Depends on how I feel about it. How well this is working. Take it all the way up, way past where we're stopping. So that means I'm going to take it up in here. this basically cleaning this surface up here, contaminants, giving others something to adhere to clear, I mean. And really, what I need to do is polish that with the compound. That'll help pull some of the contaminants out of there. Be right back. We're back. All right, so that gave me a nice clean surface, as you can see, but I'm still going to take my 4000 and scuff over that, and then you barely even see it, as you can tell, but it's leaving little scratches in there. And what happens if your blender doesn't have something to bite to, it'll fisheye kind of on you. It won't lay down. And see, these little scratches that I'm putting in here will rub right out. And my burn, I only want to go up into here anyway. So it's about as far as we're going with that for the moment. I got to get it cleaned up, washed up, and ready to spray. See you in a bit. Removes any oil and grease or wax that might be in there, hopefully. It helps. See you in a bit. All right, we're back and it's paint something day. So I've already wiped it down with this spray white glass cleaner. They tell me that helps to keep lint and dirt down, static cling off, whatever. Currently I'm wiping it down with Prep Solve. That's to get rid of any less contaminants or whatnot. Okay, what I am gonna do, now that's all wiped down, is come back and where you see primer in here, I'm gonna spray some paint in there, I'm gonna put this piece back on, and I'm gonna fit this up. I'm gonna bring the paint up over the edge, put it back up, and then we're gonna spray the whole thing. Just the way that I wanna do it. You can do it however you want. So, we'll see you in a minute. Okay, well, this is a tri-stage color, meaning a base color, a more often than not pearl over the top, and then clear. So 3 stages. This one is a little different than I've ever run into before, because they're telling me ground coat this color. Top coat, which would be more like a pearl, that color, or that color. Not very translucent, but on top of it, neither is that one. So, we're checking that out before we spray anything. See you in a bit. Well, we're gonna give this base a shot, which is the pinkish color. This will be our test to make sure it's right. You see what it looks like. Bodywork Butchery here. So now let's go get the pearl and put that on, see what that looks like. Okay, here goes our mid coat or top coat for the color. Always wear your respirator. All right. Probably, I mean, it looks like the color. Looks like the way we're supposed to do it. Never mind the little wrinkles. And that's just bare minimum of coverage and blending and whatever. So we got some paint on there, that's what I wanted. I'm gonna put that other panel, the retainer on, put the bumper up, and then we're gonna mask up the car. All right, we've got everything fitting up as much as we're going to anyway. Now I'm gonna start taping. I'm gonna start doing my back taping. Back taping is when you put it on about halfway and then you pull it to the back and you leave that little edge exposed. So when you pull that off, there might be, you know, a little roughness on it, which you can take from 1500 or 2000, whatever you want to do, and just lightly go over it and it'll come right off. Sometimes it comes off with your finger. Not a big deal. Had to do a battery change. As you can see, we put on some plastic. We cut out and then taped up our edges. And I'm gonna take the floor. Okay. All right, we're gonna do some blowing and some wiping and get ready for paint. And I'm probably gonna cut this off because I don't have a lot of battery. See you in a minute. Okay, you saw me wipe it with glass cleaner before, wipe it down with Pret-Solve, tape it up. Now I've blown it off, and I will keep blowing it off until I don't feel anything on these top surfaces. And that can be up to 5 times or more, to be honest with you. I'll just keep going until I get tired of it. I don't feel anything there. And then I will tack it off with a tack rag and we will start painting. Normally I wear some kind of white suit and whatnot. I'm not gonna wear that today. It's just a little spot. Not that worried about. And this is Bodywork Butchery, by the way. I think I'm done blowing and wiping. Feels pretty good. Next is tacking and painting. Final wipe down with the tack rag. Okay, I'm spraying on an adhesion promoter. I don't like to go over my primer with the adhesion promoter. It just looks funny. It reacts weird. But I'm going to go out here where the color is. Adhesion promoter also helps to act as a wet bed sometimes. What I mean by wet bed, the wet bed is a clear bed put down that helps fill in any sand scratches, as well as helps to aid in blending your color. Sometimes they use a binder, which is clear. You can do all kinds of tricks, just whatever works for you. Let's put on our first base coat. We'll let that flash. We'll put on probably 2 or 3 more coats until we get coverage. Right back. I thinned that last one down a little bit to help blow it out some, I guess. Really gonna have there's no blend room right here at the door. Good thing we're not up there, we're down here, so it won't look as bad when it doesn't match. To save that problem, go into the door, and it wouldn't have been a big deal, probably, but I didn't want to do that. So this is what we deal with. Okay, let's get the other color. See what we can do with that. Next is the mid coat. Doesn't look very good so far. Well, I believe that's most of the coverage that we're gonna get. Covered back here. Appear to be covered here. I'll get my light and double check. It's hard to, you know, it's hard to tell, really. So, I'll get my light and I'll be right back. Remember we had those couple little spots back here? They look covered. Got a nice little brake line right here. Thank goodness. I think that's all we can do. Gonna have to let that base dry for about 45 minutes and then come back and start clearing. See you in a bit. Okay, gonna be our first coat of clear. Gonna put my first coat of clear on, clear up to here at the top. And then I'm going to use some clear blender. Then we're going to let that coat flash, clear another one, go a little bit over and clear it again, or clear blender it again. This will be the second coat. Well, second coat. Still looks dry even though I blasted it on. And I got something come through the gun. I don't know what's going on. Filters on there. That's Bodywork Butchery for you. Alright, well, I blasted about another coat and a half of clear on to try to get it to flow out some. Looks better. What that was that came out of the gun, plus I wanted to bury that so I can sand that out later. Little trash here. Little something, something. But we'll get it. It'll look good. Our blend looks pretty good up here. Can't hardly see anything. Really gotta get her in the light. Lightly rub it by hand. Now, it's pretty sticky. I did put a little squirt of reducer in it to help her lay down some. So, just gonna lay it down a lot more. If it doesn't run off of something, I don't think it will. It's pretty gooey. I'd like to see what this door looks like, to be honest with you. How close we are. Fingers are all sticky. It's pretty close, you guys. As far as a butt match goes, down there, not too shabby. But we'll get this thing cleaned up and done so you can see it. See you in a bit. Hey, so we're done spraying. We've untaped it, and this is the next morning. So looks to me like our orange peel is pretty close from here to here. Same thing in here. We've got little specks of dust. This is a lot of dust for some reason. And then whatever came out of the gun that we need to sand down, buff, and make that look better. And then do a little hand rubbing here, smooth this out. You can see that. So, got a little work to do. And then put it back together. See you in a minute. Okay, here's my little nib sanding block. I wrapped this. It's actually a sanding block, the square long one, and I cut an end off of it and wrapped it with 1500. It's pretty wore, which that's the way I like it. Otherwise it leaves too many sand scratches in it. So we're going to pick out some dirt here and see if we can't flatten it out a little bit. Some people use razor blades and all that kind of stuff. I don't trust myself. I've tried it once or twice and messed it up. So I don't know if you can see. There's a nib, and we'll do the best we can. It's hard to see that stuff in this light at the moment. And don't drop it on the floor. If you do, wipe it off, obviously. I typically like to let this set up for at least 24 hours, which it hasn't been 24 hours. Feels a little, sounds like my block is sticking, but it's still sanding some. We're not going to get real fancy with this. I don't want to block it flat. I just want to take the noticeable nib off. Sometimes when I water sand something, I don't, I might have a little too much orange peel in it, but I don't want to get rid of all the orange peel. I just run over it with 2000 by hand. And do it that way. That way it just levels off the orange peel a little bit. It doesn't get rid of it. Your hand seems to flex, not flex, but just kind of go over the orange peel and go with it without blocking it down, let's say. And I don't know why I have this much dirt in this vehicle, other than I did a job which was the whole side of a vehicle, and had cleaned the floor 2 days prior. Didn't do anything else in there, and brought this one in. Figured I'd be okay, but when you get overspray on the ground after a job, it can cause problems, I guess. Okay, you get the idea. After I do this, I'm going to take some 3000 and go over each little spot, kind of remove the 1500, and it blends in the, because I'm just concentrating on one little spot. So see you in a minute. All right, we're going to do a little buffing. Excuse me. Anyway, I'll try to show you what that looks like. You can see the little nibs over there. They'll kind of blend in like the orange peel. That one's gone. That one's still kind of there. And voila. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be good enough for Bodywork Butchery. I'm impressed with the color, to be honest with you. And this is what I use. It's okay. Not looking so pretty yet. You look at it that way. Da-da-da-da-da. See? And I don't want to flatten this out, but I may end up having to. Just the whole thing. Trials and tribulations. That's what we do. And I'm going really light on this because it's so fresh. Okay, well, we had a couple spots in here. Here they are. I can see them. I don't know if you can see them, but that's as good as they're going to get because I'm not going to hold a magnifying glass to it. I just want to make them less noticeable. This one's going to be a little tricky. If you have a tough situation like that, close to here or close to an edge or something, don't use a lot of pressure. Let your compounded work. Use more compound if you have to. Then off of your edge this way. Stay away from that one. Okay, well, you get the idea. See you in a minute. All right, it's time to rub this up here a little bit. I've been working on it some already. You can see it. A bit of haze right through here. We're probably not going to get it much better than that, otherwise we're going to start breaking a line. And I don't want to break a line. Now up here we could hide that line right here in this edge here. No, I'm not worried too much about that one. this one, and not putting a lot of pressure, just kind of letting the compound do its thing. There. I don't know how you get it much better than that. If you can see, we can come back around with a fine polish compound, scratch remover, basically. Dang it. I see the haze through here, but that's because I know where it was. Now I see haze all down through this thing, and I went over that with the buffer. So that's that for as far as the blend goes. Is it perfect? Not in my opinion. If it was perfect, I wouldn't even see it. So again, here you go. See you in a minute. Okay, back on our blend. What tends to happen when you bring your clear up, you start to get overspray. Not a lot. I mean, you can barely even see it, but when you pull my plastic was way up here. When you pull your plastic off, you see a line. Well, that's kind of what happened to me. So this, what I'm doing is removing that overspray. See the haze up here? See if we can remove that. Okay. You could probably do this with a buffer, but my point with the buffer is it's too easy to go too far too quickly. If you do it by hand, then you kind of know what you're doing. You see it happening easily. And I'm not going to do much more than this. Well, I got to clean this up a little bit more. But you get the point. Now we're getting a little bit of haze off back here and right here. And all we've got left, pretty decent looking little blend. Melts right in. Okie dokie. That's the end of that. Now what I did use for that was this right here, which is, no, I'm sorry, that was the compound, which is perfected number 1, and the machine glaze, as we call it, is perfected machine polish number 2. And all by 3M. Drawback I've seen to the compound is you can compound it and it removes your scratches and it looks great until you wash it, and then all your scratches are back. So you really have to pay attention to that. Really go over everything with a fine-tooth comb. Anyway, so right now I'm getting ready to put this molding on. Probably nothing you really care about, so we'll see you in a minute. All right, we are done. It is together, and that's as good as it gets. And I didn't even paint it up here, and it looks a little funky. Well, I see what it is. It needs to be, it scratches. It needs to be waxed. That's what the deal is. All right, so I made that look worse. Anyhow, Bodywork Butchery at its best. Now it's gonna go get cleaned up. Like and subscribe. See you in the next video.